Okay, we're in Yaakov. This is Berachot. This section is called, Why Do the Righteous Suffer? So Rabbi Yochanan further says in the name of Rabbi Yoshi, 3 things Moshe asked of the Holy One, blessed be he, and they were granted to him. We know that they were granted because at the end of his request, God replied, I will also fulfill this request of yours. Exodus 33:17. He asked that the Shekhinah, the divine presence, should rest on Israel, and it was granted, for it says, You, God, are coming with us. Exodus 33:16. He asked that the Shekhinah should not rest on the idol-worshipping nations, and was granted, for it says, So that we are distinguished, I and your people. And he asked that he should be shown the ways of the Holy One, blessed be he, and it was granted, for it says, Allow me to know your ways. Exodus 33:13. Moshe said to God, Master of the universe, why is it that some righteous men prosper and other righteous men suffer? Why is it that some wicked men prosper and others suffer? How is God's justice manifesting itself? God replied, Listen, Moshe, the righteous man who prospers is a righteous man who is the son of a righteous man. The righteous man who suffers is a righteous man, the son of a wicked man. The wicked man who prospers is a wicked man, the son of a righteous man. The wicked man who suffers is a wicked man, the son of a wicked man. The Gemara now explains. The Master said above, The righteous man who prospers is a righteous man, the son of a righteous man. The righteous man who suffers is a righteous man, the son of a wicked man. The Gemara asks, But it is not that way, for we have 2 contradictory verses. One verse says, He keeps in mind the sins of the fathers to their children, Exodus 34, verse 7. In other words, children die because of the sins of their fathers. And we have another verse that says, Children shall not die for their fathers, Deuteronomy 24, verse 16. Thus there is a contradiction between the 2 verses. We answer, there is no difficulty. The verse referring to children who do suffer for their father's sins speaks about children who continue the actions of their fathers, and the verse dealing with children who do not suffer refers to children who do not continue the actions of their fathers. At any rate, you see that a righteous man who does not follow in his father's wicked ways does not suffer. Then how can you say that a righteous man who suffers is the son of a wicked man? The Gemara answers, that was not God's answer. It has nothing to do with who his father was. This is what God told Moshe. A righteous man who prospers is a completely righteous man. The righteous man who suffers is not a completely righteous man. The wicked man who prospers is not a perfectly wicked man. The wicked man who suffers is a perfectly wicked man. The saying of Rabbi Yochanan that all 3 of Moses' requests were granted is disputed by Rabbi Meir, who says, Only 2 requests were granted to Moshe, but one, his request to understand God's ways, was not granted. For it says, I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, although you may think that this person does not deserve grace. And I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy, even though he may not deserve it. Exodus 33:19. Thus God's ways cannot be known. Another indication that God did not grant Moses' 3rd request in this verse, God said, You cannot see my face. Exodus 33, verse 20. We learned in the name of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha, this is what the Holy One, blessed be he, said to Moses. When I wanted you to see me, you did not want to see my face, at the burning bush, where Moses hid his face. Exodus 3:6. Now that you want, I don't want, an implied criticism of Moses. This goes against the interpretation of this verse by Rabbi Shmuel ben Nachmani, who said, Moses was not criticized for hiding his face, rather he was rewarded for it. As a reward for 3 things, Moses received 3 gifts. As a reward for Moses hiding his face, as a reward for Moses hid his face, Exodus 3:6, at the burning bush, he was granted the radiance of his face. For because he was afraid, quote, because he was afraid, for being in awe of God and not looking, he was rewarded with seeing his radiance, and people were afraid to come close to him. Exodus 34, verse 30. And for, quote, to look, that is, for not looking at the divine, he was rewarded that he sees a true picture of God, Numbers 12, verse 8. This is the vision of God's back, according to Rashi. For it says, I will remove my hand and you will see my back, Exodus 33, verse 23. Rabbi Huna ben Bizna said in the name of Rabbi Shimon the pious, so Rabbi Shimon Hasid, means that the Holy One, blessed be He, showed Moses the knot of the tefillin.